The devotional content of the Montyman's Meditorial is provided in part by the National Association for Christian Recovery, Kurt and Debbie Palmer, and other contributors. For a free download of any of our shows, visit our website at take12radio.com.
Well, greetings, everyone. I am your host, the Montyman, on this week's Montyman's Meditorial. This one's going to be a little different, and I'm sure before I finish, some of you are going to be very unhappy with me. And quite frankly, that's not my main concern. This Meditorial is entitled, "It Takes More Than Heart to Help the Hurting." Listen, working with other alcoholics, addicts, and folks that are either in recovery, should be, or are family members of those who are in either one of those categories, well, it can be a daunting task. And this kind of work, it's not for the faint at heart. And it requires a tenacity, a dedication, and a commitment. Well, it's quite hard to compare to most other types of public service. Well, many wonderful people work in the recovery industry, and some are paid professionals with no personal history of dysfunction or recovery themselves. But they have a laundry list of degrees, well, that appears to qualify them for the position they've been hired for. Others are volunteers that have never dealt with any type of addiction or codependency. Well, both of these have a heart for those with life-controlling issues and put their best foot forward every day with the intention to be of service to their fellow man. But there is another world within the sphere of recovery that is made up of men and women who have seen close up the dark underbelly of addiction, abuse, and the wrath of chemical dependency. These are the once participators in what can only be described as the lifeless, evil existence of what I refer to as chase and drop. The endless chasing after an ineffective solution to the incredible pain and agony of the trauma their lives have experienced, only to drop into the pits of despair and hopelessness, well, that many simply don't survive. Well, here you will find the people of the recovery community, the 12-steppers, the spiritual giants, though few would claim that title, those who have had a spiritual awakening as a result of a miraculous transformation that can only be brought on by a power greater than themselves. Once powerless over their life-controlling issues, they now stand accompanied by a power that has rendered them free from the bondage of self and self-loathing, provided they remain in fit spiritual condition and perform the Creator's work dependent upon His care, protection, and strength. Now, residing in both camps, the paid professionals and the recovery community, for the most part, are folks with a heart for the hurting, compassion for the lost, and a deep desire to be part of a movement that brings about healing. Well, in this Meditorial, I want to take a moment to personally thank all who have contributed so much to the recovery of addicts, alcoholics, and people with other life-controlling issues. Your work is often thankless and goes unnoticed, but believe me, God sees your efforts, and I can't imagine that He is anything but proud of the hard work you all do for others. Well, having said all this, I cannot go without bringing up a major concern I have as it relates to those who may have good intentions but have little to no experience, training, or expertise in the field of recovery. For the paid professionals in secular treatment, as well as faith-based residential programs and outpatient facilities, I hope beyond hope that your staff is made up of well-rounded individuals that not only have a desire to be part of the healing of others, but are men and women that participate in ongoing education, are active in self-improvement, and are properly certified and equipped to render the services that are so desperately needed in today's addicted world. Listen, it takes much more than a desire to help to be qualified to help. There are many residential and outpatient recovery facilities that have a heart for those in need. But my question is, are they truly qualified? For as many that are, there are many more that simply fall way short and are at best putting a Band-Aid on their clients' issues, and at the very worst, are leaving their clients worse off than when they first checked into their facilities. Well, if you are an individual seeking treatment, I cannot express more how important it is to do your homework. If you have a loved one in need of treatment, do your due diligence and conduct a very deep dive into the program you are considering. If you're seeking a faith-based program, please understand it takes more than a love for God to be qualified to treat those with deep traumatic issues. Many men and women living with active addiction are also living with co-occurring mental health issues that many faith-based programs, well, they're not equipped to deal with. Let me ask you a question. If your arm is broken, do you go to your pastor, rabbi, or spiritual mentor, or do you seek out a medical professional? Well, addiction is not simply a spiritual issue, but a medical one as well. To lean on one and not include the other is irresponsible, and frankly, it's dangerous. Now, if you are amongst those in the recovery community and believe in the importance of walking with others through a set of spiritual disciplines such as the 12 steps, ask yourself, have you worked and applied these steps? Have you had a spiritual awakening as a result of the program you are attempting to share with those around you? What are your qualifications in working with others? If you're an active member in Alcoholics Anonymous, for instance, how well do you know the chapter in the big book, Working with Others? The directions on how to do just that are clearly lined out in that chapter. If you're a member of Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, or any 12-step fellowship, do you apply and implement these principles in your daily life, at work, home, and play? Do you limit your recovery to meeting attendance, drinking bad coffee, and sharing about your day? My friends, people are dying all around us, and not for the lack of treatment facilities and fellowship meetings, but for the lack of qualified people who actually know what they are doing, can effectively impart to others the amazing freedom that comes from working an effective recovery program and developing a relationship with a power greater than themselves. Now, I know I have once again drawn a line in the sand, but the question is, are any of us willing to take a thorough moral inventory on whether we are helping the hurting or hindering those who need the help? It's not a bad thing to step aside and let those more qualified do the work that we may not yet be able to do. In addition, I would venture to say that there are many of us who are qualified, who do have the experience, the heart, and the wherewithal to come alongside those who desperately need us. But perhaps we have grown weary, tired, and discouraged, and just don't want to be in the boxing ring any longer. The danger of falling into this kind of complacency is that if we don't step up and take an active role in those vital positions, then the work is left to those with big hearts but limited qualifications. When this happens and people fall through the cracks, we take an active role in the watering down of what would otherwise be a powerful move of redemption and healing. Listen, it takes more than heart to help the hurting. Until next time, this is the Montyman, and I am wishing God's perfect serenity for you.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.